G'day everyone, doing a quick one here, your basic first building. In some cases, of course, you might want to start with a little wood house, maybe just have your bed and mortar pestle, little things like that in there, but for me it's going to be stone pretty early on. You know I'm a raft guy if you've seen my other videos, but at some point you do need to make land and get things started. And this would be my early base. There's a chance I'll be moving from here, and we're going to do a full vanilla build. It's a pretty consistent build I do. And yeah, we'll get going right away. We'll be using 20 foundations. Like I said, for me, stone's best, with the exception of a couple dinos in the game. There's not too many AI that are going to chew through this, but of course, they still might swipe through the walls, especially things like Fairy, stuff like that. So gates around this as a priority could be pretty important. I've already got some gate videos up there, so for today we're going to focus mainly on the build. That feels big enough to me. We'll go ahead and just make it use our last 3 up. Even spike walls, oh what a waste. Even spike walls could be pretty useful, but I find they're kind of ugly. And this type of build would probably even be okay as an early build in PvP. You're not going to be getting metal and turrets day one, especially if you're solo. Although I do play in a tribe, I spend a lot of time solo, and you're not going to necessarily want to spend 50 some hours straight on the server in your first little bit. So what I would be doing in PvP is just trying to get this thing hidden as best I can off in the middle of nowhere wherever possible. I don't think we're going to be able to carry this many walls here, so let's see. Yeah, okay, I'll be going 3 walls high. The reason being is I'm going to be rolling dinos inside here, both my small more vulnerable tames like dodos and dilos, but also you'll see why I build in a certain way quite soon. It's going to be a lot easier for me to roll in my trike to unload. So I need about 3 walls high in order to be able to jump off the trike without having constant headaches with my head glitching and whatnot. And that being said, it's about time to get our gate up here real quick. Again, we're using all vanilla parts just to make this as wide use as possible, including the consoles. Now, while we're in this position, let's talk real quick about buttons. We got our K button, which I find very useful. It switches when you're in third person to first person. So here we're in first person, and when we put K, in some cases, that's going to go ahead and move our positioning a little bit. So let's say we're there, and we hit the K, and it's actually moved. So you're better to have it in third person before you roll that out. This gives me a really nice way to make things nice and straight. Couple ramps here if you have the extra materials, just to get that dino up easier, but we're doing this, this is kind of my minimum almost here. We're not going to be putting on the ramps at this time. Like I said, about 3 high for me, just to make things a little easier on loading. You could get away with 2, but boy oh boy, it's going to really be a bit of a problem when you get off the trike, because your player jumps a little bit. Moving right along. I believe I'm running a weight build right now. Of course, if you're in the early game, you might not be able to carry this many walls at a time. In that case, I would have a box close by like you see there, or a trike full of gear, whichever is the case, even if it's an Argent by the time you get this done. Which in my case happens. I have lived on a raft for quite a while. The only time I pulled it off on a PvP server, though, living on a raft, was quite a ways back, and there had just been a massive invasion in that server. All the alphas got wiped, a bunch of people had quit, the pop was low, and they were just happy to have an Anglo in there. And actually I was rolling around the whole map on my raft right on the shore for quite a while, and people were literally coming and giving me free stuff. So it worked out well, but the raft, of course, not the best play in PvP. It's quite easy to sink. You know, there's a lot of neat tactics out there to hide them, but you're going to have a little risk. The other problem, rafts in deep water, you got your whales, and then you got your fall through the floor, or fall through the raft. Good, so all we need to do now is get our ceilings up. I didn't bother with the door. Again, just trying to roll this with as little mats as possible. I believe we did 20 foundations, so 20 ceilings should be more than enough. You won't catch me building without my pike. Even though this is a really safe area, the odd dilo or something rolls up, I need to be ready. And on that note, although you're going to want to push that weight a little bit, when you're real heavy, you're a little more at risk. So you'll want to be careful at how much weight you're carrying while you're doing this, in case the dilo comes by. Of course, I can whistle my trike within one little maneuver here, from aggressive to passive. So if I hear any trouble or the fight music comes up, I might go ahead and switch them on attack my target, which is what I use. So we're going to do little jumps to get this up. And the next step will just be to place in some of the basic early game items. I do place them in a certain way to make my life easier as far as moving around metal ignites or metal and unloading my dinos. So we'll have that as a demonstration, and that'll pretty much wrap it up. There's not a whole heck of a lot to this. We're doing a basic box. Of course, on a PvE server, you might want to build for style, and if you're the type of person that won't build anything scrappy, then you may want to take a lot more time to do something more stylish. Now, I do have videos about that, but today we're talking straight build, straight early game. As soon as you unlock the stone parts, you're going to want to get this up if you're looking to make landfall. So that's it. I mean, that's a little bigger than we need, but I'm planning, I might be planning on putting some dilos, some dodos. I would want to get my dodo egg farm up real early, so if I can fit a few dodos in there, all the better. So let's start getting some of our... Alright, nice rubber band there for you boys and girls. And others. Let's start getting our parts in there. I'm going to be running 2 forges for sure. I only need 1 soup pot right now, but 2's not the worst. Definitely going to have a smithy. I would normally put my mortals and pestles on tables just for looks, but we're not doing that today. And these boxes. Those are some of the keys. I better grab those beds if I didn't already. Beds, obviously, pretty important. Good. Let's get this stuff down. Now, I'm going to be running my trike in here, okay? And the idea is that I can roll in my trike and unload them without moving, just like that. That way I can carry quite a bit of weight. The other idea is I'm going to want to keep my forges and my smithy, as well as my boxes, real close together at this point in the game. If you're using S+, you have the pull feature, but if you don't, and many aren't, we're going to have to go ahead and get stuff set up in a way that I can easily work with everything close together. So just for fun, there's a lot of ways you can do this, but we're going to do it just like this. I'm going to leave barely enough room for my trike and me to be jammed in here together. What will happen is I roll in my trike facing front, you're going to see in a second, and I can access inventory, access inventory, access inventory. You see that? And I'll be able to move overweighted with all that stuff. So let's just see if we can get them in here. Drive them right home. There we go. I'm going to pull them back a little bit. Bada bing, bada boom. And now what the beauty of this is, my trike's full of stuff. If it doesn't want to get unloaded, I can do that. And, I mean, I don't have a weight issue right now. That's the trike's weight, in fact, but I believe, let's just see. Oh, I'm running a cave build, so I can only carry 310, in fact. Still late game build here. I'm a level 100. And then the beauty of this is, like I just showed you guys, okay, I want to unload quick into there. Great. And where this really comes in play is the metal. If we get a lot of metal in here, which we're going to want to do, going to want to get these things cooking big time. If we can get a lot of metal in there, we're going to be able to pull out the ignites, which you can't put back. So if you take too many and you can't move, you got to drop the bag and do the old 1-2 shuffle, where you're essentially dropping the bag, moving a bit back, picking it up, moving a bit back, picking it up, and that's time wasted. Let's be honest. So let's just be efficient here, guys. So we can just go like that. We can unload them. We can put stuff in here, put stuff in there, unload ignites out of there. Charcoal is going to be pretty important. Now, I'm not going to need to carry a whole ton of weight to work a fireplace, so we'll put those kind of out of the way. I don't really need those anywhere. I used to because I'm probably going to want to cook up a lot of meat at various points. I should have some preserving bins on the go as soon as possible as well. It's a great early game way to keep things fresh. The mortar and pestle, like I said, I normally put a table there, but we're looking for just having things set up in the basics. I like to use 2 mortar and pestle. One of them is going to be specifically for narco. I'll probably name it that. And the other one for like things like cementing paste, gunpowder, various objects. Now, another thing we could do, I don't have enough boxes, but not the worst idea to get a row of boxes, and I mean a lot of them. If you're the collecting type or you want to have a good stash of resources, you can get a nice row of boxes right here. And then what we can do again is roll our trike up and unload the boxes. Okay, now, normally I would place that straight. The beds off in the middle of nowhere are useless land. We're going to be spawning in, of course, but we don't need these to carry any kind of weight. We'll get those down. I stack them. And we got 3 beds is usually my minimum, especially if I have a taming trap close by. I'll probably build a trap right here like you see on the boat, but out of stone. And I may die a couple times trying to lure animals in there, so we're going to want those beds up. Other thing you could do that might be a little better, is have a row of boxes right alongside here, with the heaviest mats closest to the smithy, if it just makes sense. Now, I've just taught some basic tips there, particularly about the unloading method. You're obviously, hopefully, going to take some of this information and set it up to work a bit better with you. Now, so if, by example, we had a big row of boxes right here, we'd be able to drive our our trike right up to about yay and unload from boxes as well. This would be like my stone, wood box, metal box, and then I could easily reach the smithy from those boxes. Not a whole lot more to tell you. Unquestionably, this looks pretty safe. It is pretty safe. But if my dinos are inside and something rolls up along the walls, and for whatever reason it gets aggroed, there's going to be a problem. Arc doesn't have perfect walls. Another thing about the way it renders is in some cases, in all cases, Arc renders from the inside out, and you could end up with issues where a dino approaches your base and it renders in such a way that the dino gets part of the way into the base, things like this. So what I would be doing here off the shore to save gates, I would not gate this up. I would run some regular sized gates, stone again, in a circle around like this, to at least have a gap between my house and myself. If you're a spike wall kind of type, that'll also provide the same type of security. So that is it, folks. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. That's your basic box. The key things about that box is the unload, how I unload it, and how much time I can save by being able to overweight by loading up through a take all. And yeah, that'll wrap it up. If you wanted to, join one of my servers, there's always a list right down there. We play on a 4-map cluster, 2 PvP and 2 PvE. We like high-end lag-free play. We have active, friendly population, as well as a tribe. We call it the New Jack tribe or starter tribe. You can join right here on the island. And from there, meet people and go ahead and do your thing. So thanks for watching, and keep in touch. Feel free to make yourself at home. Have yourselves a great day, guys. It's been my pleasure, as always.